One of my favourite things to cook on the VULCANUS is vegetables of any kind, but particularly I love smashing things on the plancha. So that might be new potatoes, it might be celeriac, but my absolute favourite to do this way is beetroot. And this is a recipe that I learned from a guy called Francis Malman, who's an Argentinian super chef. And he takes a parboiled beetroot, we're going to put it on the plancha and just give it a crush. Because what that's going to do is give us loads of knobbly, crusty bits. We're going to pour on some balsamic, which is going to caramelize. And it's going to be the best beetroot you've ever tasted. Way better than Granny's pickled beetroot that I always think about when I think of beetroot. And this is a really good recipe to do when you finish cooking the main event. So you can see it here in the VULCANUS. There's still a lot of heat coming out of there. I've just got embers, there's no flames. So things are starting to cool down, but there's still plenty of heat that we don't want to waste for cooking a lovely veggie side dish or main course. So that's our beetroot. What I'm going to do is give it a little bath in balsamic. That's going to reduce and become really sticky and sweet. Bit of salt and pepper. Don't be shy with the seasoning. And a little bit of butter. I always tell people that one of the main differences between normals and chefs is how much butter and how much salt chefs tend to slip into their food. But how much nicer does that look with a little bit of butter? So we're going to leave that now to just caramelize, to suck up the flavour from the plancha. I'm going to move it slightly back because, as I said, it's still pretty hot. We don't want it to burn, we just want it to beautifully caramelize. And then to go with it, we're going to have a couple of things. We're going to have some beautiful English asparagus. This is from my village, Dalwood, literally grown. I can see the field from out of my bedroom window. And that was picked this morning. So that's hyper fresh, hyper local asparagus. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a kind of a VULCANUS fondue, if you like. I've got a camembert here. And I'm just going to make some little slits in the top. And we've got some roasted garlic left over from one of our previous recipes. I'm just going to pop in some roasted garlic. You could use raw garlic in tiny little slivers, but I had some roasted spare, so this is going to give it an extra smoky flavour. Again, a little bit of salt and pepper. And I've got some fennel fronds. So this is just the top of a fennel bulb. You could use rosemary. I'm just going to pop it on the top. And then, crucially, I've got some Alsatian Riesling. It doesn't have to be, but it feels like it's the right kind of thing to have a fondue. About half a glass on top. I'm going to pop the lid back on. And we're going to pop this directly onto the embers. That's just going to sit there, warm up from the bottom up, become really lovely and gooey. And then we're going to have our asparagus to dip into it. We're going to have our beetroot to have it poured over. And then the last little thing, I'm just going to toast some blanched almonds for a bit of crunch. Any dish that you think about should always have different components. So it should have texture, I find really important. So this is all quite soft, quite gooey. We're just going to have a little bit of crunch from the almonds. I want to keep my eye on those because they'll cook quite quickly. And as soon as they're gently toasted, we'll take them off and roughly chop them. We'll have a look now at the underside of our beetroot, see how it's getting on. So you can see lots of beautiful caramelization. The colour is genuinely spectacular. The first time I did this, someone thought I was cooking heart or lungs or something. It can be quite good. Once you know that's a beetroot, then you can accept that it looks beautiful. I'm going to give it even more balsamic. It's really a flavour sponge at this stage. A bit more salt and pepper. We're probably ready to do our asparagus. I tend to do the asparagus on the VULCANUS with the cut side of the stem down, which keeps the end nice and crunchy. But we do want some colour on our beetroot, on our asparagus. But we don't want it to be really floppy and overcooked. Almonds are toasting beautifully. I think toasted almonds, gooey cheese, caramelised vegetables, it's a pretty perfect combination. It's one of those dishes that you don't need any meat at all. It's fun, it's a perfect summer dish, but I can also imagine eating this up the mountains in the winter. It's a bit of après-ski. A little bit of olive oil. So we've got the finished dish. I've got our beautiful smashed beetroot glazed in balsamic, a little bit of butter, salt and pepper. Look how gooey and melted this beautiful camembert is with caramelised garlic. And we've got our English asparagus perfectly in season, perfectly cooked on the VULCANUS, really nice and crunchy still. And then just a little bit of almonds scattered over the top. And for me, that's a perfect sharing dish for any supper, any lunch, winter or summer. It's a real winner.